England is an incredible place for like the history of the church. The England Manchester mission itself is probably the only mission in the church that has, more church history than, I'd say places like Nauvoo. I'd say that the England Manchester mission is really just is so rich in history. You have places like Preston, where, the very first missionaries went and taught in the Preston town square, beginning with like Heber C. Kimball, Joseph Fielding Smith, a lot of those early missionaries. You have the Liverpool docks where, thousands and thousands of saints, left England. You have places down in the southern of England that aren't a part of the mission that, there's just incredible experiences with missionaries like Wilford Woodruff, John Taylor. It's just so rich in church history. And there was a time when all 12 of the apostles were actually called to be, essentially in the England Manchester mission, because that's where the headquarters was in the Manchester area. And so it's just this really rich place in terms of church history. My wife and I had the opportunity this last summer to actually go and be a part of the first, British pageant, which is really celebrating that church history. And it's the first pageant that the church has sponsored outside of the United States. And so I was actually over playing Wilford Woodruff. And part of his mission, he spent in an area known as the Potteries. It's kind of it's in the middle of the country. So it covers places like Stoke-on-Trent, Newcastle-under-Lyme. So he talks about teaching in Hanley, this town square, and, finding this man whose last name was Benbow. And he taught him the gospel, and, he's essentially, was referred to this man's family down in the south of England in Herefordshire. And so Wilford Woodruff went down and he taught, John Benbow and his family, and they joined the church. And not only did they join the church, but John Benbow was also part of an organization called the United Brethren. And I think it was more than 600 people, of that group joined the church. There's only one who didn't out of the entire group of United Brethren. So there's just a lot of miracles and a lot of, it's just really clear to see how the Lord blessed those early saints and those early missionaries. And it's amazing to feel like you're part of that legacy. The legacy that's not only with those early missionaries, but also missionaries such as Gordon B. Hinckley, who served in Preston, that many, nearly 70 or 80 years later. And that's where he wrote his father saying, I'm a failure, I can't do it, I'm not getting it. And that's where his father told him, forget yourself and get to work.